What is going on, everybody? Back on the New England Shakeup. Alex and Cam back again here for a Week 4 recap of the Carolina Panthers and our New England Patriots. Cam, say what's up to the people on YouTube and also on TikTok and also on Twitch today, because we are streaming on Twitch as well today.
Nice. What's up, everyone? We're just going to get into Week 4, a little bit of a preview of Week 5, and just kind of break down the game, like all aspects of it.
Yeah, and with that said, just a public service announcement to Stephon Diggs. We were talking shit about you last week. We both were. And you made us eat our words. 100 yards, and that's what we said. Week 3 was what are we expecting? Well, if you don't get yourself a touchdown, you better be getting 100 yards. And I think, Cam, you can agree that Stephon Diggs looked the part of a $23 million receiver on Sunday.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we had talked about, like, I would have been happy with 60 to 75 yards, and a touchdown or not wouldn't really matter to me. So I'm just happy that he broke 100 yards this week. I mean, they used him in like third down plays, like we were talking about, and in positions where he's stronger. So it's about getting like him involved with the plays, like we talked about last week.
Yeah, and I do think also that you're also seeing kind of like the mesh points of like Drake May in the second year, kind of knowing where to go with the ball as opposed to in his first year when we were at all those games last year. What was the things he was struggling most with was getting the ball out of his hands quick because the O-line was so bad.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing him have that half of a second more, and you're seeing how much of a difference that's making for Drake May and for this offense. But we are going to take it with a grain of salt because it is the Carolina Panthers. They have been one of the worst football teams the last couple seasons. So I think it's a good win, but like for this week's game, we better show up. But with that said, Cam, any crucial plays from Sunday in the Carolina game that you thought were really huge? Maybe that came at the beginning of the game, because let's be real. I mean, the first drive of the game that Carolina had, they come down and score that touchdown to Tommy Tremble. What were you thinking in that moment? Were you thinking like, oh, here we go again?
Oh, yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking. Watching the game and seeing them basically not be able to be stopped. Like, McMillan had that, like, 15, 20-yard play over Gonzo, one of the first plays. Then just Hubbard and Etienne just kind of, like, running us down. Yeah, I was not very confident at the start. I mean, I liked that they missed the field goal. I kind of had a feeling that we were going to take advantage of that. And then, I mean, just Marcus Jones. I mean, I'll let you get into that, but just seeing him do what he did in special teams and on defense this week was super impressive. I mean, we're big Marcus Jones guys, but seeing him break 160 yards on 3 returns is crazy. Averaging 55 yards a return is something that nobody does. That's like Devin Hester level stats.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, I think, kind of like what you're seeing, right? Is like Vrabel, all of his teams, even going back to, his time at Ohio State when he coached tight ends, and, back when he was, the coach for the Titans, his teams were always good in all 3 phases. Not just one phase, not just 2 phases, but 3 phases. And we are seeing, after last year, how much of a difference special teams makes. Like, yes, Marcus Jones had a couple good returns last year. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you're kind of looking at it through like a third eye view, and you're kind of like, oh, okay. Well, this is happening 4 weeks in. Not that we're expecting a touchdown every week from Marcus Jones, but if you can get that 30, 35-yard punt return continuously, we're going to be put in pretty good field position for Drake May in this offense. My thing is, I wonder if they can do it against more superior opponents. Like, again, it is the Panthers, but we're not going to take credit away from him. It's the NFL. You play who you play, ladies and gentlemen. But Cam, getting back to Marcus Jones, I think like me and you can both agree that like his best attribute is him as a returner. I mean, we saw him playing corner, right? We saw him playing corner, but for the most part, like Vrabel didn't really want to put him at corner this year for some weird reason. That I don't really know, and that I don't have the answer to right now. But you would expect that now, with Gonzo back, Marcus Jones's snaps in the slot, or playing slot corner, are probably going to decrease a little bit. What's your take on how Alex Austin's play time is going to be the next couple weeks?
I mean, I kind of figured with Gonzo coming back and all the corners that we like signed or kind of brought in that he and Marcus Jones wouldn't be getting as many minutes. I mean, I'm kind of impressed that Marcus Jones got as many snaps on defense with all the running he did for the returns, but I don't know. I feel like Alex Austin still has like a lot to prove in general. So I don't know. I feel like in a few seasons, if he stays with the team, he could be one of those guys. But I feel like with Gonzo coming back, he's not going to get as many plays as he has been the last few weeks. And Gonzo looked really good. I know that first play was kind of whatever, getting the rust off from having not played at all this year. But I mean, nobody can really stop or have an answer to T-Mac in general. Like he's what 6'4", 6'5", super athletic and jump over you. People are calling him kind of like a Calvin Johnson regen. I mean, that's going crazy to compare him to Calvin Johnson, but I mean the athleticism, I can see some of the comparisons he draws, but I mean Gonzo still played a really good game, and I would have been nervous if it was Alex Austin on him the whole game instead of Gonzo.
Yeah, and it almost like begs to that question, right? Like, okay, these next couple weeks are going to be pivotal for us, especially next week with Buffalo. But with the next couple weeks, as you know, like if we can split these next 4 games, I think we're in a okay spot. We can't lose 3 of these next 4 games, though. It just
Definitely.
can't happen. So I would say, based off of how the schedule looks right now, the fact that that game is a Sunday night game, I think is low key good for the Patriots. And I'm gonna give a weird prediction right now. I think the Patriots are gonna beat the Bills on Sunday. I do think that. But the reason why I think it's gonna happen isn't because of Josh Allen, isn't because of the Bills' juggernaut offense. Can the Bills stop anybody? I mean, Cam, Spencer Rattler, 19 points. That tells me that your defense, there's some problems there. I mean, let's be real and let's be respectful. Like, yes, Spencer Rattler playing for the Saints, you're an okay quarterback. You're not the cream of the crop. You're not the upper echelon of NFL players right now. The fact that Spencer Rattler looked as good as he did against Buffalo's defense last week, ex Matt Milano and ex Ed Oliver, if you don't have Ed Oliver and if you don't have Matt Milano for this game on Sunday, the Patriots are going to win this game. Based off of how the pass rush is getting to quarterbacks, based off of how the defense is going to play a lot better with Gonzo in, I'm not like unconfident that this secondary that we have can't match up with Buffalo. I mean, Khalil Shakir, as we know, right? Prime name, prime example for the Bills. You also look out for Kincaid and Keon Coleman. How do you think our chances feel this week in the secondary against this group of Buffalo?
I'm definitely liking our secondary, especially with Gonzo back. Like, if he wasn't back, I wouldn't be as confident, but I'm definitely liking where we're at after this game. And then in general, just to bring back up your point, like, Radler had 19 points. I don't remember how many points the Dolphins had, but Buffalo's defense, I feel like this is one of their weaker defenses in the past few years. Like, I don't know what injuries they've had.
Week one too. Didn't the Ravens score 40 on them?
Yeah, the Ravens scored a lot. I'm not sure if it was exactly 40, but like every week, it's like they used to be one of those, like, you wanted their defense in fantasy, and I feel like this year, if you had their defense in fantasy, you're probably getting torched. Like, I haven't checked any of the stats on their defense, but they've been giving up so many points that I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots put up like 21 to like 35 points. I could see like a 24-21 or like a 21-17 win for the Patriots this week. I don't think it's going to be like a super high scoring game, but I feel like the Patriots could definitely put up 20 or 30 points.
I mean, it makes us feel a lot more confident that last year, with a way worse coach team, I would say far worse offensive weapons, far worse offensive line, and a far worse defense, almost beat Buffalo last year in Buffalo. If you remember that, the Pats were up 14-0 in that game. That tells me right now that Diggs has a revenge game this week, going back to
Yeah.
Buffalo. I think that's what happens. I think the Patriots end up beating the Bills this week. And it's not for us being biased in the Patriots fans on the shakeup today. It's us being real about the situation. If Drake May, with a far less coaching staff, far less competent coaching staff last year with Gerard Mayo, can go in there and hang 14 points like that on Buffalo's defense, what's to say that with Josh McDaniels and Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry and this nucleus of running backs that we so have can't go in and get a win in Buffalo? I think we can. But Cam, going back to the point of the episode and the point today, what do you think is the projection now and how Pats fans are feeling after the first month of the season?
I'm thinking that it's a lot better than last season. We'll just start there. I feel
Yes.
like I know that kind of goes without saying, but a lot of people had like question marks about Vrabel, which I didn't really understand why anyone would have question marks about him. Like he's definitely a seasoned coach. I mean, all the way back to like you talking about him at Ohio State and everything. Like he's been through every like offense, defense, college, professional, played in the NFL. It's not like how Mayo was, where he was just being kind of fed to the wolves. Like Vrabel knows what he's doing. He's a seasoned coach, so I don't know. I feel like they could easily get somewhere between like 7 and 10 wins. And I know a lot of people were saying that they thought that was going to happen last year, but there was no way that was going to happen when Mayo's introduction meeting had nothing to do with football and Vrabel's introduction meeting had everything to do with football. That just kind of shows the difference of how serious they are. And I
And,
feel
and,
like
and
the players respect Vrabel a lot more. Like him getting in the drills with them and everything, Mayo wasn't doing any of that. So I feel like he's earned the buy-in from the players, which is the most important part.
yeah, and let's ask a question for the shakeup today. Do you think Gerard Mayo will ever get another head coaching job in this league?
I could see it, but it'll be with like whatever team is like the worst the next few years. You know what I mean? Like I could see I don't know why I'm saying this, and I feel bad, Gerard Mayo. If you're watching this, I don't even want to say it, but I could see him coaching the Browns at some point.
That's just horrendous. But the Browns did beat the Packers last week, so they did get a good win.
Yeah.
But with that said, for the shakeup today, is there anything based off of week 4 that surprised you, or maybe that you didn't expect to see? Like, obviously, we both kind of agreed that we maybe didn't see Diggs going for 100 yards. Was there anything else that surprised you in the game on Sunday?
I mean, the three things I was really like impressed with. I mean, not super necessarily surprised, but just impressed with was Diggs having as many yards. I mean, I was expecting like 50 to 75. The running backs all getting some action. I was impressed with that. I kind of figured that Stevenson was going to have a reduced role, even though Vrabel said that that wasn't going to happen. I just still kind of assumed it was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But just the running backs all getting like similar yards and carries. And we'll bring that back up for like a fantasy standpoint. And then just the special teams. I mean, special teams always can either win or lose you the game, but just seeing like the blocks that were happening, I think was the most impressive part of. I mean, of course, Marcus Jones was the MVP of that game. You can't take anything away from him, but seeing the blocks that people were throwing and that they wanted to block for him, honestly, meant a lot to me just watching it from like a thinking like a coaching standpoint. And then if you want to get back into it, like the distribution of running, like from like maybe like a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah, so I think from a fantasy standpoint, I think as much as we love the Patriots, we have to stay far away from them with the running back room. I mean, you've had a game where Stevenson has scored a touchdown, a game where Gibson has scored a touchdown, a game where Henderson has scored a touchdown, and you basically are just playing pick 'em every week. You should probably bank on a running back that, like an AKA, like an Amarion Hampton, if you're lucky enough to get someone like that. Because obviously the injury to Najee Harris, I just think that is going to boost Amarion's stock and get him more carries, potential for more touchdowns and more points. So that's what I would say there. But also from a fantasy perspective, like Cam, can we talk about Hunter Henry for a second?
Yeah,
He is a fantasy machine this year.
I
So
know.
if he's in your waivers, go pick him up. Go now. It's week 4, ladies and gentlemen. Go pick up Hunter Henry if you have not. Another note too. Did you hear Kayshon Boutte's name on Sunday?
Not much. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I have it right or not. I think he had 1 catch, right?
Not that we're expecting like 100 yards every game. I would have at least liked to hear his name more than once, though. But now you're seeing what we kind of assumed, right? Week 1 and week 2 was, oh, let's get it to Kayshon Boutte. Let's get it to Hunter Henry. Let's run the ball, right? Week 3 was, okay, well, we're just going to fumble the ball 5 times and see if we can win. That's what happened in week 3. And then week 4 was a justification on the Carolina Panthers franchise. That's what that was. That was a unification of an ass whooping that the Patriots gave them. But with all good and jokes, and somebody on Twitch just said, "Hell, LOL, that's hilarious." So shout out to Mr. Guy on Twitch. But with that said, I don't think you can really expect Kayshon Boutte to really do anything more in this offense anymore. It's not that I'm hating on the guy or hating on the kid. It's the fact of the matter is that, dog, you know how the NFL works. Cam knows how the NFL works. People that watch the shakeup know how the NFL works. If somebody's making $1.5 million as opposed to $23.5 million, who do you think is going to get the ball? Probably the guy making more money. So now I'm sitting here on a precipice of, okay, now the value in Kayshon Boutte is going down in fantasy. But now you're seeing Diggs ascend to a level in which he's playing the Buffalo Bills. What better way and what better week for Stephon Diggs to score a touchdown than this week in Buffalo?
Yeah.
That's my basis of it. And I think we also should talk about, from a fantasy perspective, is Drake May going to finish as a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year? Because that's what it's looking like. That's what it's looking like. I mean, 21 fantasy points, over 20 fantasy points in back-to-back weeks. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But with that said, Cam, let's get into this kind of week 5. I wouldn't say recap yet. I'd say preview. But a week 5 preview for the game in Buffalo on Sunday. A lot of things to look at. A lot of things to hear about between now and Sunday. I take it you're taking the Pats to win, right?
Yeah, I'm taking the Pats 1-score game. So I don't know necessarily. I feel like I already kind of said it. I could see like a 21-17 or like a 24-21. Either way, I think it's going to be a 1-score game, whether they win or lose. But with how we've been playing, other than the fumble fiasco in week 3, I feel like the Patriots stock's going up, and I feel like even though the Bills are 4-0 and it's a pretty impressive 4-0 with some of the teams they've played, the last 2 weeks were games they really could have lost. Like I just don't get how you let the Saints put up 19, or how you kind of barely squeezed past the Dolphins. I know we barely squeezed past them, but that was when people thought we were going to lose. Nobody thought the Bills were going to be 1-2 scores with that Dolphins team that we beat. Everyone thought they were going to beat the Dolphins, how we just beat the Panthers. So I don't know. They've had a lot of close games to kind of less than impressive offenses, other than the Baltimore game. So I think the Patriots have a very good chance of winning. I mean, I could see Diggs in for a touchdown. I could see Henry and or Henderson getting in the end zone. I feel like Drake May is going to find his way in the end zone with a run. So if
Yeah,
I had to guess, probably May, Henry, and Diggs, or May, Henderson, and Diggs all get in the end zone.
I would say just really quick, I think we can both agree. Prayers to Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that was awful to see. Yeah.
After last night, hell of a player and somebody who I'm not going to say bases their whole career around speed, but bases a lot of their career around speed. I hate to say it, but I think Tyreek might be cooked, dog. I really do.
I was saying it to a few of my buddies that I thought this was going to be Tyreek's last year, not even injury related. I thought it was just going to be he was done with the Dolphins, and if they don't trade him, that he would just be overplaying in Miami just because of how he reacts around Tua, and then that injury happened, and I don't know. Kind of solidifies what I was saying. I feel like he's was mentally done before, and then who knows, it might be physically now with like that was a horrible injury. Like it kind of just reminded me of the Godwin injury. I know it was completely different in a way, but
yeah, it was terrible from an aspect of like when you look at some of these like top players in football, like you never want to see an injury like that. I know there are some messed up individuals out there that probably had Tyreek Hill for under last night, so you cashed, but still, there, like, still, there's no room for getting happy about an injury or anything like that. But with all due respect, like, I'm low key kind of happy for the dude because he straight up was playing for a terrible organization in Miami. They paid him a ton of money, and then ended up getting hurt for a team that's starting 1-3. It just, for me, I feel bad for the guy. I know he's a true baller, and I think at this point in his career, I mean, I really feel bad for him because, I mean, we had talked about it a couple weeks ago. Tyreek Hill was like a prime trade candidate, like for the trade deadline. Now you're looking at his career possibly being over. I mean, it's just so crazy how in 2 weeks things can change. Obviously, it's the NFL; people get hurt, and we all know that. But the nature of that injury and how it happened and how it occurred, it was just honestly disgusting. And obviously for us, prayers.
When we had talked about it like a few weeks ago, and I know before the season started, we were talking about what if he went and teamed up with Lamar? What if he went back to the Chiefs? What if he went to the Steelers with DK? Like there were so many like goes to the Chargers. There were so many options where he could have gone. And not that if he went to another team, this injury wouldn't have happened anyway. But yeah, just like what you say, like how much can change in a week or two is honestly insane. He's going to be out for the whole season. Who knows if he comes back? Yeah. I mean, for his career, I hope he comes back because I feel like he's still got some more in the tank. But I also thought Amari Cooper had way more in the tank, and he just kind of gave in at the beginning of the year too. That was one I wanted him to come to the Patriots, dude. Thank God he didn't. If he came and then retired, I would have been so mad.
He was just like, I'm done. He was just like, you know what? I'm got no more. I'm done. But yeah, with that said, prayers up to Tyreek Hill. I think we do have to do another shout out really quick. Shout out Darren Waller coming out of retirement and scoring 2 touchdowns last night, dude. That was pretty damn impressive for a guy that, forgive my French, but was dealing with some mental health and drug problems in his career, right? And
Yeah.
overcame that, and obviously got his contract with the Raiders, and then obviously retired when he had went to the Giants. But let's be real, if you're on the Giants, you're probably gonna retire. But nonetheless, it kind of sucks. And also, shout out Malik Neighbors too. I mean, it feels like it's been an injury-riddled week for receivers. Please not Jay Jettas. Anyway, but with that said, is there anything else today and maybe for this week that I know there was one injury in the game for the Patriots. Gibbons got hurt. The middle linebacker next to Spillane got hurt. So I think we'll probably get news on him tomorrow. Probably do another episode for everybody on Friday. But I hope that everybody is taking in this first month with a grain of salt because Cam and I just love to remind you guys of this. Some of the fans in the chat and on Twitch and on TikTok right now. Listen, you have all right to be all worldly about your team in the offseason. Cam and I have no problem with that. But during the season, when your team is 1-3 or 0-4, you can't really say anything. You can't say 12-5, 13-4, 14-3 anymore. Because, I mean, you're not the Philadelphia Eagles. You're not just going to win 13 or 15 games in a row like they did last year. So, back to my original point. Cam and I have this saying, factual, not casual, that some of our players and some of our fans at the No Man Fantasy Sports Podcast use as well. Every Tuesday night, 9 p.m., Twitch and YouTube. But with that being said, all these injuries are occurring because of one thing, right? You saw Malik Neighbors get hurt. It's probably the field at MetLife. Like, me and you have talked about that how many times?
Oh, yeah, that field is literally cursed, yeah. But keep going.
Cursed. And based off of how the Tyreek injury happened last night, it's just a freak accident, right? But I was talking to some people in No Ma'am and talking to some people on TikTok in a live the other day, and I asked this question, and I wanted to ask you, because obviously we're here, we're doing an episode. Do you think the NFL contracts will ever be 100% guaranteed?
Oh, I don't know. That's a really good question. I feel like no, but at the same time, they're starting to go that way with some of the guaranteed money. Like, I don't remember if it was Lamar or Justin Herbert or Burrow, but when I saw it was like, I think like somewhere between like 70 and 80% of it was guaranteed. Or like Deshaun Watson's, like how much of his was guaranteed. A lot of his money was guaranteed. And a lot of people thought that was a stupid deal, which I mean, I know it was, but when you sign somebody who you think is going to be a top tier quarterback, and he kind of was in Houston, the guaranteed money kind of makes a little bit of sense depending on who it is. Like a Lamar, it makes sense, but I don't know. I feel like they're starting to go that way. I mean, it would be stupid for it to be 100% guaranteed, but at the same time, I've already been impressed with how much is guaranteed.
Well, this is why I asked that, and why this kind of will be our last bit for today. But this is why I say that, right? And take it with a grain of salt. But remember that I said this, right? So you just brought up Deshaun Watson's contract being one of the, like, basically the closest to a fully guaranteed contract, right? And it didn't go well, right? I get that, but the reason because of that was because of a huge Achilles injury that he got. I mean, let's be real. If he doesn't get that Achilles, maybe he plays better, right? What is the contract that Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Drake May are going to be looking at in a couple of years? Because if, for example, Patriots pay Drake May, and I know, I always use this example. goes out and tears his knee. He's never the same. They have an injury clause to get out of that contract. He doesn't have any liability to them after that. So now I'm asking, well, how good are these agents in the NFL? How are you not getting the most guaranteed money that you can possibly get for a free agent or for a player on a team, right? Until I saw Myles Garrett, right? TJ Watt, right? The edge rushers that got picked or that got paid. Forgive me. $41 million a year for Myles Garrett is a lot of money. But you're almost banking on him not getting hurt. But his contract is 100% guaranteed. So if he gets hurt, it's not guaranteed. But if he plays all the games and doesn't get hurt, he gets all the money he wants. That's like almost, I don't like to say criminal on the show, but it's like almost criminal, because if he is laying his life on the line, right? His family, right? We saw what happened with DeMar Hamlin. You're laying your life on the line when you go out there. How are you not guaranteed all that money in your contract if something tragic were to happen on the field?
Yeah.
That's my take for today on that. I think at some point, like we said, I don't think it will be like the next 2 years. But like when we're 35, 45 years old, yeah, I think we're going to start seeing that. I do think so. Cam, anything else you want to say to the people on the shakeup today?
I just want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll have an update probably like Friday or Saturday with a more in-depth preview and kind of injury report and everything.
Yeah, and we'll have news on Jack Gibbons tomorrow. We'll also have news on Carlton Davis. That was limited in practice today. Don't know what he was limited with. They didn't say why. They didn't say with what. So maybe it's like, maybe he's sick. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe there's a flu going around. But it is flu time, people. So make sure you guys drink your Lipton tea. But, guys, this is the New England Shakeup. Alex and Cam are out for another episode today. We will see you guys either Friday or Saturday for the Week 5 preview for the Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. Peace!